A tiny whimper, thin and desperate, pierced the usual woodland symphony. It was the sound of a puppy, no more than a few weeks old, huddled beneath a gnarled oak. His fur, the color of burnt caramel, was matted with damp leaves, and his eyes, wide and liquid brown, were filled with an unbearable, bewildered sadness. He didn't understand. One moment, he was nestled warm against his mother's side, the next he was alone, the scent of his human family a fading ghost in the air. His cries echoed into the deepening woods, unheard by most. But they reached the ears of a creature whose world was usually one of sharp edges and survival. A she-wolf, sleek and gray, her movements purposeful and silent, paused mid-stride. Her belly was heavy, the hunger of her hidden cubs driving her forward. She typically hunted small game, rodents, maybe the occasional deer fawn. Dogs were, by instinct, the enemy. The intruders who sometimes encroached on her territory, scenting the air with their alien odors. Yet, something in the pup's heartbroken wails tugged at a long-forgotten chord within her. A primal instinct, akin to the one that drove her to care for her own young, surfaced. Cautiously, she approached, the pup's small body trembling as she drew nearer. Instead of recoiling, he lifted his head, a tiny tail thumping against the damp earth. He had no fear of the massive creature looming above him, only an innocent trust, a desperate plea for warmth and comfort. The she-wolf nuzzled him gently, her rough tongue licking at his face. She couldn't quite explain the feeling, but it mirrored the pain she felt for her own pup in the nest, and a strange kind of maternal understanding dawned in her eyes. She knew she couldn't keep him. He was a dog, not wolf, and she couldn't risk her own cubs by bringing him to the den. But she couldn't leave him, not now. With a gentle nudge, she guided him to the edge of the forest, to a path he wouldn't have known existed, a pathway she knew so well. Stepan Petrovich, the gamekeeper, was an old man, his face etched with the wisdom of a life spent in the woods. He remembered the wolf cub his own childhood dog had nursed back from the brink of death decades ago. He was tending to his traps, the silence of the woods his only companion since old Boris, his faithful German shepherd, had passed away months prior. He was still adjusting to the deafening quiet of his life without his loyal friend. That's when he saw her, the she-wolf, emerge from the trees. Her gaze was fixed not on him, but on something small and whimpering at the edge of the path. He raised his rifle, his heart pounding, but something in her stance held him back. It was not the stance of aggression, but of urgency, of almost pleading. Then he saw it, a puppy, a pitiful ball of fur, cowering beneath the she-wolf. The she-wolf whined softly and nudged the puppy forward, making direct eye contact with Stepan, for just the briefest of seconds. She stepped back into the darkness and faded into the trees, leaving the puppy to face the man. Stepan lowered his gun, a slow realization dawning. He approached cautiously, crouching down to the puppy's level. The pup, instead of barking or running, looked up at him, his tail giving a weak wag. Stepan knew the puppy's breed well, a mix of farm dog and hunting hound. He knelt, offering the pup a palm. The puppy, tentatively at first, began to lick his fingers. He picked the little creature up, surprised at how light he was. His heart, usually stoic, did a strange little flip. He couldn't leave him here, not with the chill of the evening coming. He carried him back to his cabin, a quiet resolve settling within him. Stepan cleaned him up, fed him warm milk, and watched as he finally curled up, safe and warm in a corner by the fireplace. He knew, with a certainty that surprised him, that this puppy was staying. Over the next few weeks, the puppy grew, his energy infectious, his loyalty unwavering. He learned to follow Stepan on his patrols, to sniff out tracks, to alert him to the movements of the woods, and the gamekeeper felt a warmth bloom in his chest he hadn't felt since Boris was gone. He named him Lesnik, forester, in his native language. He had an unexpected helper and friend once more.